We're new here, but we've been around since 1866, and we believe that we should all get more from money.
Okay, like what?
Well, like bankers that take the time to learn your whole financial picture and help plan the best path with you.
That sounds good.
And accounts that automatically build your savings each day.
Ooh, I like that.
How about getting paid up to 2 days early?
Okay, now you're just showing off.
Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
I'm Emmitt Smith. Pro football and fatherhood have taught me you need the right equipment for what life throws your way, including an opioid emergency. I've lost teammates and loved ones to opioid poisoning. It's the leading cause of accidental death in the U.S. But now I have the power to save a life, and so do you. Lay, spray, stay. 3 words to help save someone in need. Lay the person on their back. Use Narcan nasal spray as directed to reverse the effects of an opioid emergency. Dial 911 and stay with them until emergency help arrives. Continue to administer additional doses as needed. An opioid poisoning can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. So learn the signs and symptoms of an opioid emergency and always be ready to rescue. Learn more at readytorescue.com.
This message brought to you by The Game Nashville and Cromwell Media.
30 years ago, Nashville became a major league sports town with the Predators and Titans. Nashville's own Jay Grider has penned a book titled Last Call that chronicles everything from college sports to Nashville's rise as a major sports destination. Over the course of his nearly 3-decade career in Nashville sports, Jay gives us insight on the people, the events, the teams, and challenges that helped establish Nashville as a major sports city. If you're a longtime Nashville sports fan or new to the area, this is a must-read. Get your copy today on Amazon. Look for Last Call by Jay Grider.
Live on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
This is Nick Frazier. Training camp wraps up from Vanderbilt Health Football Center for the Tennessee Titans as Titans head coach Robert Saleh shared good news for Titans fans regarding J.C. Latham's health.
J.C.'s coming off PUP today, so you'll see him with a helmet. He won't be fully integrated into practice, but we'll continue to work him in.
Latham has been dealing with a pec injury since spring practices. Elsewhere in the NFL, as Green Bay Packers legend and career rushing leader Ahmad Green revealed he has Parkinson's disease. Green was diagnosed with onset Parkinson's back in January of 2025. In Major League Baseball, as the trade deadline creeps closer, top pitcher in the American League, Tarek Skubal, might have pitched his last start for the Tigers Wednesday afternoon in a 10-9 extra innings loss to the Baltimore Orioles. According to Jeff Passan, the Los Angeles Dodgers, Milwaukee Brewers, and Tampa Bay Rays could be in the Tarek Skubal sweepstakes. As for this evening, the Nashville Sounds continue their series with the Charlotte Knights at First Horizon Park. The Charlotte Knights are the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. Coverage begins at 6:20 on 94.9 The Fan on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
35 years of the best sports talk in Nashville. It's the George Plaster Show with Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame quarterback Kelly Holcomb and young gun Lewis Maddox. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is, how would we describe it? Well, we would start by saying 86 degrees. So very warm, but it could be a whole lot worse in late July. And we're going to move quickly because Danny Evans is here. So let's start in Murfreesboro. Say hello to former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm terrific, George. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Means a lot.
Oh, is that right? I bet it does.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to ask, but I wanted to be cordial. So I know we got Danny on. I got to go. Sorry.
Absolutely. Lewis, how are you today?
Great. Ready to talk some ball.
That's wonderful. Let's get right to it then. Danny Evans is standing by. Okay, what's the jersey?
Oh, come on. It's Richmond UFC. It's Ted Lasso. I'm a Kent fan. Come on now. Let's go.
Looking
forward to the next set of Ted Lasso shows.
It's a good show. You seen
Okay.
it, George?
I can't say I have.
That's a shame.
I know.
Well,
Sorry.
you know what, George? You got to be a goldfish.
What does that mean?
Don't you think, Lewis?
I've seen like 2 episodes, Danny. I just know it's pretty decent. I haven't watched a whole lot of it.
You know what, George? You got to be a goldfish. That's one of Ted's really insightful lines as a head coach, and it works really well.
Thank you for sharing that. Kelly, you got that down as well? Did you write it down?
Didn't write it down, no.
Goldfish
but thanks for
have
that
an
wisdom.
attention span of 10 seconds. They just move on to the next thing. They don't worry about it. So he tells one of his players, just be a goldfish. Just move on. Let's go.
Let's do go. So you know the story, Danny. You know where this is going. We're 4 days from the trade deadline. And while I have nothing to base this on, I'm starting to believe that this deadline will be slower than some in recent years because I think there are going to be some potential buyers who say, you're not going to fleece me for a mediocre talent. What do you think?
George, there's 8 series this weekend that are unbelievable, involving contenders. And I think it's going to be a make or break weekend for a lot of franchises. There's only 7, maybe 8 teams out. So there's 22 or 23 teams that are harboring thoughts of the postseason. And that's a hard thing to wrestle with for some organizations because am I in, am I out? And if I make that announcement this weekend and I make a trade, not only am I out, but I become irrelevant. Football season's about to start. We're done. We didn't fulfill our expectations. For some owners, some PR people, some general managers, that's not a good place to be. And I think as a result, George, I think you're right. I think you're going to have not a slower deadline, but a compressed deadline on August 3rd. And I think what we're going to see is we're going to see the prices go up. And I think we're going to see some of the fence sitters both add and subtract, which is a very difficult thing to do. But you can move a free agent who, you're trying to shed some salary to obtain another one who might get you that second or third wild card.
Let me start with this one. Everybody has focused in on Tarek Skubal, and rightfully so. He's a great pitcher. But to me, the superstar that I feel a lot more confident is going to get moved is the best reliever in the game in Mason Miller. I don't see how San Diego's got any choice.
I know AJ very well. He's one of my proteges. He worked for me early in his career. You don't need Miller right now, but maybe you do. They're trying to get in, George. They're a game and a half out of the wild card, and they've won 5 games in a row. I think they're in a situation that we were just talking about. Am I in? Am I out? New ownership. The general manager wasn't hired by this group. So it's going to be their first litmus test as to who they are as an organization. But George, here's how I look at Miller. And I know it's different than a lot of baseball people, but I really have carved out my philosophy about bullpens. I think a bullpen helps your club just as much as a really good starter. And the reason is this: they affect you daily. Adding Miller to an already good team makes you a very difficult club in the postseason and in the final 2 months of the season. I think you're right. And I think he's also going to have more value for another reason, George. He's not going to be a free agent this offseason like Skubal is. So you're willing to make a move with him, knowing you can always turn him around and move him to somebody else. This is an elite right arm, a fabulous competitor. If I were a club, I'd be going after him. I'd be going after Ryan. Yeah, I'm going after Skubal, but you're not going to get a markdown on Skubal in any way. And I think the difference between guys like Ryan and Skubal are not as great as some people think.
Okay, let's talk Bravos for a minute.
Yeah.
I have no proof of this, but I believe that they really wanted to see A.J. Smith-Shawver in game one of the doubleheader yesterday. And by the way, I thought he pitched very well in the 4+ innings. And my gut feeling is that they probably came away saying, okay, as long as he stays healthy, he's one of them from here on in that rotation. Does that have them saying, we don't have to have an ace, but we sure could use an innings eater?
Good call, George. I was at the Iowa Cubs game yesterday during the afternoon, and one of my buddies I went to the game with said, this might change Atlanta's patterns at the deadline. George, they know Shawver better than anybody, physically, emotionally, and performance-wise. He did look good. I thought he looked healthy, and that's the key thing. You're never going to look great in your first outing. It's new, and it's just like your first day on a job. Even as an intern, you're trying to feel your way around the club. I'm sure Kelly's best first day of practice wasn't as good as his third or his fourth day of practice. And I think as a result, they've got their ace. I mean, their ace is one of the best pitchers in the game. Losing Perez has been a bigger deal than people realize because Perez was a rock in the 5-hole for their club. He was doing a great job. Getting Perez back and getting Shawver back makes their team better. Their team is noticeably better with Acuna back. And look where the standings are today. They woke up with a 6.5 game lead with the Phillies sputtering right now, having some internal stuff going on, and looking as though they've got some large warts in their playoff chances. They're no longer the best of the 3 wildcard teams. And until they get their ship in order, I think there's some suspect with their playoff situation.
Okay, let's go to that, because it's clear that Bryce Harper has had a case of the red you-know-what. And it sort of resurfaced a couple of nights ago when he did everything but, fly a banner over the stadium and say, Dombrowski, kiss my butt, and what are you doing to help us? I'll admit I was surprised by it, and I hear Don Mattingly was pissed and got in Harper's grill yesterday about it.
George, you know what? Dave Dombrowski is one of the greatest executives of his generation. He has consistently won, and he has made trades at the deadline that are earthquakes in the baseball landscape. He has not been afraid to move players. Their farm system is not as good as some others, so their prices are going to be higher. And like we talked about at the initial stage of this show, there's 22 teams vying for players. And the prices aren't going down, they're going up. I wish Harper would stick to playing baseball and would not try to play team president, because no one in the game who has competed with or against Dave Dombrowski has ever debated his enthusiasm and his appetite for making a trade at the deadline. Never afraid, never concerned. It's just that the market's not moving. I think what you're seeing is a club, struggling to win right now. And Mattingly, an old school guy who has been around the block with some great franchises, was almost saying, come on, Bryce, just play the game, do your job. A great executive friend of mine once said, if everybody would just do their job, this game would be a little bit easier. And I think it's a great example. Just go play and play well. He's a darn good player, but he's not the general manager or the president of baseball operations. They've got a really good one, and I'm sure he's doing everything he can to improve their club.
And I agree with you. I'll admit, I didn't understand what Dombrowski was trying to accomplish over the winter with the things he said about Bryce Harper, and I'm anything but a big Bryce Harper fan. But doesn't somebody have to get in the middle of that, get them in a room, and let's once and for all spit it all out?
George, this is where your ball club requires veteran people who aren't afraid for things to get a little uncomfortable. When your manager speaks out the way he did, it's gotten probably too far. This is not something your PR guy or your VP of communications can do. This has to come from the clubhouse. And it's not sucking up to the team president. It's not sucking up to the manager. It's reality check. If the team were playing better, this wouldn't be the necessity that you feel it is. And as a result, if everybody would just play a little bit better, let's go. I think it's going to require one of the veteran players to say, hey, and clubhouses get closed, George. You know that once in a while. And things are aired out. And when they're aired out, it gets a little uncomfortable. Tony La Russa said it years ago to me. And he said, if it's uncomfortable and you're not talking about, all it's getting is more uncomfortable. You got to bring things to the forefront. That's why you're a leader on the field or in the front office. That has to take place that way.
Okay, I know I'm stealing a little bit of Kelly's thunder here. Danny asked me if I care.
George, do you care that you're stealing some of Kelly's thunder?
Absolutely not. I love it.
You're a jerk if you do it.
But
let's go.
Danny, I've come
I hear
to the
rumbles
conclusion.
in the background. I can see
So
the
do
lightning
I.
in the sky.
You're right. So can I. I've come to the conclusion that for all the rumors about Tarek Skubal, first of all, the Braves aren't going to get him. Milwaukee's not going to get him. The Dodgers are the only team that ultimately is in this running. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. I think there's 7 or 8 teams with prospects, George, who can get Skubal. So here's the problem. Harris is a relatively inexperienced general manager who made some bold moves, but also did not trade Skubal. Now the franchise is faced with, do we hold on to him and try to make up? And I'm looking real quick. They're 4.5 out. That's a long way. And it's a tough climb to get in. So as a result, do we now try to repair what we didn't fix? Do we move him or do we hold on? Holding on, you get a draft pick. Letting him go, you get a lot of criticism. Neither is easy. What they're probably doing this weekend, George, is they're just rounding up the best deals. Milwaukee has a ton of prospects. The Cubs have prospects. The Dodgers, the Mariners, I'm just looking here. Tampa Bay, Boston, Pittsburgh, they all have prospects to get Tarek Skubal. Prospects are currency this time of the year, George. If I'm the Tigers, I tell them, listen, we will pay Skubal's salary. We'll pay the rest of his $32 million. You give us prospects in return and really mark up his value. If you ask the other team to pick up his salary, you're not going to get as much in return.
So, Kelly, yeah, I did that. But there's more to that story if you want to go there.
Well, I really don't want to go there. You got that. You got this. You go ahead and ask.
Okay.
You go ahead and ask what you want to.
We're going to go to the break, and then
All right.
you're going to go and tell Danny how I stole all your stuff.
No, I didn't say I hadn't said that. I was
No,
good.
but
I
you're
mean, I
going
didn't have
to.
any Tarek. I didn't have any Tarek Skubal. I've already asked enough about him. I'm done with it.
Okay. We'll go to the break, and then Kelly Holcomb and Lewis Maddox will talk to Danny Evans. We'll take your phone calls around 3:40 on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers, Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
If you are struggling with back pain, neck pain, or stubborn nerve pain that hasn't responded to the usual medications or injections, listen closely. At the Dr. Gill Center, we help patients discover why they hurt and how to find relief without surgery. We are Middle Tennessee's leaders in back pain treatment and non-surgical spinal decompression, a gentle advanced technology designed to reduce pressure on the spine, restore space between discs, and help the body heal naturally. Our patients aren't just looking for another temporary fix. They want expertise. They want options they haven't been offered. They want a team that actually listens. And that's exactly what you'll find at the Dr. Gill Center. If you've been told there's nothing else to try or surgery is next, it's time for a different approach. Call 615-882-4838 or visit callmepainfree.com to schedule a comprehensive evaluation and see if non-surgical spinal decompression is right for you. Make 2026 the year you get out of pain. Call 615-882-4838 today.
Learning is tough enough, but big tech engineered distractions that make it even harder for kids to focus.
Marsha Blackburn, she took on big tech to protect kids from dangerous content. Now, she's fighting to take back our classrooms.
My plan? Bell to bell. No sale. No excuses, no exceptions.
Marsha Blackburn.
No more posting, no scrolling. Here in Tennessee schools, we're going to learn.
Authorized by Marsha for Governor, Treasurer Glenn Jacobs.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back. We are basically 4 days away from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. All kinds of rumors, but unlike some years, it is absolutely a seller's market because there aren't many of them. Kelly Holcomb, I promise you, even though I have some fun with this, will ask some great questions to Danny about mindset of GMs about this time of the year. Kelly, don't disappoint me.
Yeah, you're starting to put a little bit too much pressure on me, George. But I will say this: when you brought this up, I want to know how this works, Danny. When you still have to, like you just said, like if they say Tarek Scuba goes somewhere and we pay the rest of his salary, how does that work? Like in a year or two down the road, or is that even relevant in baseball? Because I know it is in football, but since you don't have a collective bargaining agreement on the, well, not a collective bargaining agreement, but a salary cap, since you don't have that, like, how does that manifest in all this? Like, does it hurt you going out and getting free agents when you have to pay somebody that is not on your team anymore, but you're still having to pay him?
You know, Kelly, it's a great question. It's whether you're in the moment or whether you're a real conservative player in the game. You know, there's only one Scooble on the market. There's only one Miller.
Yeah.
Those are going to be big price tags. You're not going to go to an outlet and get them. That's going to be at a good department store, and you walk in knowing this is what I'm paying. And Kelly, The problem is some GMs and some teams like to act the part, but then when it comes to anteing up, they don't like the criticism because they played the part like we're trying to do all we can, but you can't back it up. And here's what happens, Kelly, when you do that. Then you get criticized. Then you get hammered. Why didn't you get Scooble? So here's what really goes on right now, Kelly. Everything's on the table. You are negotiable. You've got an asset, a left-handed pitcher, but Kelly's only got about 10 more starts before the season's over. He only pitches every 5th day. So yes, he's going to impact you, but you're only, let's say he has a great period. He's 8-2. How much better is that 8-2 for you to get in? And once you're in the postseason, so you figure these things out, and some teams will go, hey, our collateral is prospects. We'll give you what you need. What do you need? But Kelly, I can't take on Scooble's full 32 million rate. I need you to pay that down. If I'm on the other end, I'm Kelly, hey, you know what? I get that. I understand that. But other teams are. And if they are, and it's not just the Dodgers, Kelly, this is we're probably at the 60% mark of the season. So the salary is somewhere in the double digits. And as a result, some clubs will say, hey, you know what? We will take on his salary. We'll do that. And that separates them from some of their competitors, but maybe they don't have the prospects. So it's what it is. It's different bags of groceries. And as the owner and general manager, because the owner's involved here, Kelly, when it comes to Scooble, it comes to a relatively young general manager, the owner is going to wear this one. This is the owner's move. Just like it's the owner's move if the player is added. If somebody buys him from the Tigers, the owner's going to be involved in the conversation. Here's these last few days, Kelly. You're going to see stuff from Jeff Passan, from Ken Rosenthal, from Bob Nightingale, from JP Morosi. You're going to see things that are go, wow, that's an interesting angle. Now, what I would do if I were the Tigers, I'd take some deadwood on my roster and I'd say, listen, you really want him? You got to take this guy too. And if you take this guy too, I'm interested because Kelly, all is fair in love and war, or conflicts, I would say, given where we are as a country. And I think what you really have to do right now is you got to think, how do I leverage this one asset that I have best?
Okay, so how do injuries play into this? Because maybe you're like on the cusp of being on a playoff team, and you've got some guys that maybe are trade bait for you, but they're injured right now. How does that play into everything?
Good question. Your team doctor, your trainer becomes a real valuable conduit of information to their partners on the other side. The team doctors exchange information, trainers exchange information, and it's done because you really want to make sure you're making the correct decision medically, emotionally, procedurally, and procedurally comes down to, does this make our team best? Kelly, there's another area, and that's the guys you have returning. Dodgers, a great example. George alluded to it earlier, the Dodgers could be the team. Well, Ohtani's not throwing right now. Snell is coming back from a surgery. Glass now is a guy who's starting to round back into shape. They know what's coming better than anybody else externally. They may know that they don't need Scooble, but they also might think that somebody in the National League has a chance to get Scooble, and we want to get to the World Series. And if we have Scooble and nobody else does, we have a better chance of winning the World Series. That's a mindset, Cal. And, I've been in that chair in that situation, and you start to think, even if we don't necessarily need him, if we keep him away from one of our competitors, doesn't that in effect make us a better team? It's an interesting gameplay this time of the year. If I'm the Tigers, I would also just think about this. You're not going to be very good without Scooble. How am I going to max out my club to get it back to being competitive before the end of my contract as the general manager? Because Kelly, if he doesn't, he won't be the general manager anymore.
Yeah. So you talked about minor league guys are currency, prospects are currency. When you're thinking about major league players, though, it's just seeming to me after being listening to you and being around this, when you got a chance to go maybe to the World Series, are you looking for prospects in the minor leagues and pitchers mainly in the major leagues? Is that kind of what the trade deal is about? Like when you have a shot, everybody knows that if you got good pitching, you got a good bullpen, you got a closer at the end, you've kind of got everything. But if you don't, and you're still making it to that point, and if you get over that hump with one of those guys, it just seems looking at this stuff like it's prospects for every other position. But like if you're trading in the major leagues, you're looking for major league pitchers.
Kelly crushed it right there. That's spot on. There's 2 seasons. You got to get invited to the dance, and only 12 teams are invited.
Right.
Once you get in, everybody's 0-0. Anybody can win the darn thing. Being a second or third wild card team, you can get obliterated in 2 games. You're done, no home games. Teams don't want to be the second or third wild card. They want to be a division champion to get a bye. Or if they're the third place champion, the third best division champion, you host the wild card series. What you want to do is not just get in. Now, wait, I should say it this way. Some clubs just getting in is going to be a big deal for them because they haven't been in for a while. Other clubs, they want more than that. When you get to the postseason, Kelly, the entire game is 60 feet, 6 inches away from home plate. He who pitches best and whose bullpen retains leads, and Kelly, you don't let your starters go as long in the postseason. You're quicker in the hook. They're throwing 45, 50% of your innings. Subsequently, you want your mound presence to be as strong as it can. And you get a little obsessive about outs. I know I was completely obsessive about how am I going to get 27 outs best, not just with one guy, but with my collection. So that's why I see Miller, who I think George rightly pointed out, Miller is a massive impact guy in this situation, simply because you can use him 3 out of 5 days and know that you got a great chance of winning the ball game because your closer's suddenly your 8th inning guy, and your 8th inning guy's now your 7th inning guy. You just got better without adding a starter. That's a really effective way. It's different, but it worked for me in a couple different clubs, and it would work again if you were able to acquire Miller. But I think Miller's price is actually higher than Scooble. And it's simply because, Kelly, he's got more control. You've got more years under contract with Miller than you do with Scooble.
So I've asked you this before, there's no doubt, but it just keeps blowing my mind. If you're the Colorado Rockies, you're out of it early. We know that. We get it. But like if you're a team
they were
that's
out
right
of it when they reported to spring training.
No, that's kind of messed up. That really, but it's true. But like
It's
if
their
you're
own
one of these
doing,
teams
Kelly.
if you're one of these teams that are on the cusp,
Yeah.
and then you see your general manager start selling, how do you handle disgruntled employees?
Oh, it's hard. It's really hard. It's not just the front office people, it's the scouts and player development people. And
absolutely,
we have clubs like that right now. I'm just looking at the standings. We've got Pittsburgh, we've got Miami, we've got the Nationals, we've got Seattle, we have Minnesota, Boston. There's a lot of clubs that are just sitting on the cliff with a chance to get in. If you sell, Kelly, here's what happens. You lose the spirit that has gone into this point where you got a chance, you got a chance, you got a chance. Suddenly, just emotionally and roster-wise, you are no longer going to get in. But the Tigers a couple years ago did the opposite. They sold and they got back in, and they got in 24, and nobody envisioned them getting back in. It can happen because, Kelly, the teams are so tightly bunched in the wild card. It's fascinating. The National League, the division titles are effectively decided. The American League is an absolute rodeo. So what you have is people vying for wild cards in the National League. The price isn't as high. Kelly, you're not going to pay as much to get in as a wild card. But in the American League, it's a free-for-all. And it's a lot of clubs that haven't been in. Those dynamics come into play, and they make for a fascinating next 5 days.
So my last question, I'll turn it over to Lewis, but we had Matt Cain on the show yesterday. And he said two things. I'm gonna say one today, and then I'm gonna bring the next one up next week. But he talked about pitching, and obviously that's what he was. And I've asked you this before a little bit, kind of a roundabout deal. But the art of pitching, I guess, is still there, but it seems like that the art of pitching has kind of gone away because it's more about I remember hearing one of my friends talk about his son trying to get into college, and he wasn't in the 90s yet, and nobody even look at him. Now, I may be wrong with that, but that seems like it. And now we got guys throwing 103, 104, 105. Is that sustainable, and is that the way this league is going right now, other than the art of pitching where you had a Greg Maddux, you had a Tom Glavine, you had guys that, and I'm sure that happens, but it just seems like everybody's trying to overpower you now with pitching.
Yeah, but a lot of those teams that are trying to overpower you are on the outside looking in. It's very evident that the teams who win focus and respect the art of getting 27 outs in a game.
Right.
And the starting pitcher, Kelly, is all by himself. He's in the middle of the diamond with nobody around him. There's no umpires. There's no coaches. We call them mound visits because they're such special moments in the game. They're out there all by themselves. And they have to figure it out whether it's 102 in their arm or 89 to 91. The masters at it pitch longer, deeper, into games, into careers, because they figure it out. They figure out how to get the tough outs. These next 2 months of the season are the toughest outs of the year because everybody in the ballpark feels it. Some guys can't handle it. Other guys can. But Kelly, sitting back and trying to throw the ball through the backstop, you cannot do that consistently 120 times over the course of a game, repeatedly every 5 days. It's not going to work. You've got to learn how to get outs. And I think what we see this time of the year is we see pitchers for the first time in their career be in a situation where they're expected to win, to dominate, to be the victor in the game. And for some guys, that's paralyzing. For other guys, that's thriving, and they love the moment. We learn so much about starting pitchers this time of the year.
Danny, first of all, learned more about baseball in the last 3 or 4 weeks listening to you than I think I knew my entire life. But
Kelly's amazing, isn't he, Lewis?
Oh, man, he's the absolute best.
Oh, here we
go.
Love
it.
I'm kind of I sat there and heard you talk to Kelly about teams that aren't going to be sold on trying, a fringe team that maybe hasn't been in the playoffs for a long time, but if they buy, they could get in at some point this season and could put themselves in that position. I mean, in a general manager's mind, obviously that's huge for a fan base, for a team, a fringe team, to just make it into the playoffs. But I mean, how do you handle that as a general manager of, no, that's not worth us just getting in and being swept in round one and hitting the couch? I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Pittsburgh.
Hey, Lewis. Yeah. See, I think Pittsburgh has a great opportunity right here. Pittsburgh has a number one starter, one of the best pitchers in the world. And if they get somebody to go with him, they can make huge dent in the postseason. It's a really good offensive club, and they have a fan base that's just absolutely struggling to get in. They want to get in. So, George, good call. But really, Lewis, here's the deal. As the GM, you have to be the most unemotional person in the room. And it's not easy. That's your product out in the field. Literally, more than anybody else, that is your team. Did you do a good enough job to get in as is? If not, where are the problems? Where are the pimples on this team that I've got to try to figure out how I'm going to get it better? And if I raise the white flag, what does that do to me here with my owner and with the fan base? That's too hot a set of coals for some people, Lewis. But for others, they go, wait a second. I'm going to be unemotional. I'm going to be pragmatic. There's no analytics. There's no specific scouting report. This is feel, and this is gut feel. This is the book Blink in living color by Malcolm Gladwell. It is, who am I? Are we going to get in? What do we do if we get in? And if we don't, what happens? And I'll be honest, Lewis, it's a fascinating thing, but you in that chair feel it like you've never felt it before, and it can be absolutely humbling.
Danny, you just mentioned analytics, and obviously that's been more of a thing over time. And since you were with the Dodgers, that's been a huge thing that has changed and progressed and upgraded. Can you talk about that a little bit and maybe how some of these guys are thinking when it comes to analytics nowadays? Like, how much does that play into what people are going to be doing from now until Monday?
Lewis, your job's to get it right. And getting it right means get it right from every angle of your organization. The research, the analytics, the scouting, all the preparation. If you're a really good team, you're doing everything you can, just like the major companies do. You just don't do things with a dart toss. It's done as best you can. Lewis, I was a pioneer in that area. I mean, a true pioneer. I just didn't write a book or do a movie about it.
You should.
And here's, I don't know, Brad Pitt's not available, so I don't think we can do that. So I think here's the thing. When you're lopsided scouting or analytics this time of the year, or you're gun shy, this is a very precarious time of the year. You don't like it, it's uncomfortable. But if you enjoy the competition and kind of the gunslinger mode where you can impact your club, but you got to be pragmatic. And Lewis, here's the deal. Your minor league system and your ability to manage your budget are actually your two most important elements in this quest, not your ability to make a trade. Do you have the assets to trade? And do you have the budget room to make the move? Because if the answer to either one of those or both is no, you are on the outside looking in. And for too many teams and too many general managers, they figure that out late, and it's too late. You can't do anything. You have to constantly be prepared to add to your club to make your club better, either by your minor league system or by salary. And if you're not, it's a very hard game to succeed in.
Okay, we're going to open up the phones, and I'm going to ask each one of you, because I have a feeling we got a bunch of questions that are going to get thrown at Danny. I'm going to ask you to be quick. I'm going to ask Danny to be quick. We'll try to get to as many of you as we can. Lines are open now, and I mean now. 615-759-9949. Again, 615-759-9949. We're 4 days from the trade deadline. Make Danny be a general manager. Next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Get ready, Clarksville. The Arena Football One postseason is officially coming home to F&M Bank Arena. Your Cats have secured the top seed and are locked in to hunt down the championship. High stakes, fast-paced arena football playoff action. The number 1 seed Cats are taking on the competition, and they need you to throw your claws up and pack the stands. Don't miss the AF1 playoff game on Sunday, August 2nd at 3 p.m. Tickets are selling fast. Go to Ticketmaster.com or myfmbankarena.com to secure your seats today. Let's bring the crown to Clarksville.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive, and tell them Plaz sent you. Sidco Drive, and tell them Plaz sent you.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Trade deadline is 4 days away. It's the perfect time to have Danny Evans with us. Eric in Nashville, talk to the man.
Oh, guys, I need to clear up something. I heard your reaction. You thought I was saying they should trade Ellie De La Cruz. I did not say that. I said barring Ellie De La Cruz and Chase Burns, who the Reds might be trading. So I just wanted to clear that up. I might be crazy, but I'm not insane. Guys, as far as trades, I want to talk about the New York Yankees. I've heard rumors that they may be trying to get the pitcher from the Padres. I don't think they're going to try and get another starter because I think they feel okay with their starters. But I want to ask about this. I've heard different rumors. Some have said they may try and get a bat, but others saying that they're holding out. They're going to try and remain steady and not do that with hopes of Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton coming back soon. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that, Danny. As always, good talking to you guys. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
And Danny, with Giancarlo Stanton and all the injuries, can you truly count on him at all?
No, only the trainer really knows for sure. You know, George, and they lost such a tough game last night. They beat themselves. They let the White Sox beat them because of a really stupid play in the 9th inning. Eric, listen, I'm happy to hear you say that about De La Cruz and Burns. I'll tell you what, I think the Yankees are going to be active, and I'll tell you why. I was at their AAA game yesterday, and there were about 8 scouts there watching the Cubs and the Yankee AAA team. And that's usually a sign that's a lot of talking going on. So I would think the Yankees are looking for frontline catcher. I would think they're looking for some offense, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Yankees all over Skubal and all over Mason Miller.
Tony in Nolensville, you are up next with Danny Evans.
Hello, Danny. Danny, I was watching the Cubs game just a moment ago, and a breaking news come out a little bit that the announcers said that the Cubs had really put a strong push on right now to get Skubal. So that was during the game a while ago when they were playing the Cardinals. Yankees are playing the White Sox, as you just mentioned last night. They play the Cubs starting tomorrow. I was wondering, do they take an Uber or a big bus? I don't know which one they're going to go from the south side up to the north side. So,
I'd take the red line if I were them. I'd take the red line, 4 stops, and hop out of either ballpark.
Danny, I heard an interesting statistic this week. Georgia like this. In HAP, since April of 2021, has been reached base in 44 consecutive games at Pittsburgh's PNC Park. Who keeps those type of historical records? And where did that? I mean, I just find that amazing that somebody knew he had reached base in 44 consecutive games at Pittsburgh. And the last thing I got, Danny, is with the Cubs being where they are, I still think they've got position. They lost a game last night. They could have picked up on the Brewers. They went to the by ninth inning, both tied 0-0 and got beat 3-2. Where do you think, we talked last week that they had this long stretch in a row. They picked up a game this week. Do you think they can pick up 2 more games this next week on the Brewers, being the schedule they've got? I'm going to let you go, guys. Thank you, George. Thank you, guys.
You, Tony.
Yeah, Tony, I don't think that race is over. I think the Cubs are going to be a really tough postseason contender. I think the Brewers can still be had. I think the Cubs are vying for a number 1 starter because they realize that addition could push them really deep into the postseason. I think they're a sleeper club that is going to be strong in the starting pitching market.
Do you think ultimately they get Skubal?
You know what? I wrote down today, I thought there were 4 clubs. I wrote down the Dodgers, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and the Cubbies. He makes sense, and you've got to have prospects to move. You know, it could be Milwaukee. I think that's the 5th club for me. But George, I tell you what, and I've said this a couple of times in the last few weeks. For me, if you got Miller and you got Ryan, you might be just as good, if not better.
Oh, I'm totally in agreement with you. Frank in Smyrna, say hello to Danny Evans.
Hello, Danny. Thanks for the tip with Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore. My wife and I visited up there this past weekend. That place is absolutely beautiful. To be a ballpark that's about 35 years old, oh my goodness, that place is amazing. And the Braves and the Orioles, I saw a great series. Could have gone either way. Braves thankfully got out of there with 2 wins, but just 3 really great games. But I got to thinking about something during the Saturday night's game. I believe there was Matt Olson was up to bat, and between Matt Olson and the Orioles catcher, who was a former Brave, Chadwick Trump. Anyway, there was about 4 straight pitches that were challenged. And I got to thinking, where is the computer? Are they in the ballpark when you challenge a pitch? Is it in the ballpark somewhere in the press box? Is it in New York, like the replay center is? Where are those ABS challenges coming from being reviewed? In other words, where's the computer at? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's part of a system a Major League Baseball has set up in each of the 30 ballparks. So it originates, with the great technology we have today, it actually originates from New York City, but it's so quick and concise, it goes right through the home element, right out into the scoreboard. It's an absolutely incredible process.
People love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just, I've got where the fans in Baltimore, us, and the Braves fans there too, we were all just looking at each other, just having a real good time with it. And we're like, it's amazing how they could get a ruling this quick. And I thought, this can't be coming out of New York, or maybe it is. And I thought, this is definitely a question
amazing.
for Danny Evans. But and regarding the Braves and Terrence Skubal, I'm with George for the most part on this. I just can't see Alex doing this deal. Unless the only way I think it happens, and it's just me, is if they get Skubal to agree to a sign a trade deal. That's and we know we're going to have him for longer than just the next 2 to 3 months. That's just I just can't see Alex giving up a bunch of high prize prospects for this, but. I could be wrong. We're going to find out.
Let me run on that. Thank you.
So, George, can we talk about that real quickly?
Sure.
I mean, in and out quickly. You can negotiate a 72-hour window through Major League Baseball to have that conversation with Skubal and his agent, Scott Boras. But if you're the Tigers, that takes him off the market for 3 days. And that's a really dangerous thing to do. If I were a club and I really wanted to do that, I would do that right now, today or tomorrow, to give Detroit the wherewithal at the end of the trading period to still move him. That's a gutsy move, but I love the idea, Frank.
Brandon in Nashville, welcome.
Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Well, Brandon, how about you?
I'm doing good myself. I really am excited about this trade deadline, and as an Atlanta Braves fan, I'm curious, with Sean Murphy, their catcher, I think he's only played 4 games this season. Do you think the Atlanta Braves trade him at the trade deadline?
And is he really marketable at this point? That's a great question.
Yeah, it is. You know what? He's making some coin. He's probably a movable piece. See, I think the MVP on that club this year is arguably Baldwin. He's been fantastic. I mean, he's added such a dimension to that team, and they didn't envision him being that guy in 2026. Murphy's probably a guy they could move his money, but the problem is his injury history is such that he might not be as attractive to another club. I think it's a heck of an idea, and it's the kind of a chess game you have to play this time of the year to give yourself more maneuverability to get a bigger fish.
Okay, in the end, what are the percentages? Thank you for the call, Brandon. What are the percentages, Danny, that Skubal does not get dealt?
I would say 1%, George. And I think it would be
really.
I think it's an epic fail if they don't move him, because you don't get enough for him to legitimize the risk. To me, it would be running scared as an owner, as a general manager, that I don't want the criticism. I think you have to move him, but I thought they should have moved him in the offseason.
Oh, you and me
I
both.
think they didn't play this card correctly. But now, George, they're 4.5 out. They're definitely on the outside looking in. They're not playing very well right now. They have a really tough schedule. It just isn't a good setting to make that sort of I think, a very careful move. This is not the week to be careful. It's the week to be strategic. They can get more for Skubal now than they'll ever get for that singular draft pick at the end of the year. But you know
Danny,
what? Next Thursday, we'll know.
I got to run. You're awesome.
Always great, guys. Had a lot of fun. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Danny.
Danny Evans is the best, period.
Be a goldfish,
And
George.
I hear you, whatever that means. Titans football with Terry McCormick when we come back on the George Plaster Show.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Our forecast this afternoon, keeping temperatures on the cooler side here. Mid to upper 80s and low humidity. Plenty of sunshine here throughout our Thursday. Overnight tonight, we'll fall into the upper 50s to low 60s. And tomorrow, right back up near 90.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Looking for bold flavor and big-time vibes in Music City? Head to Social Cantina Nashville, right in the heart of historic Germantown. From crave-worthy tacos and fresh Mexican fare to legendary margaritas, it's the perfect stop before the show, after the game, or anytime you're feeling festive.
With daily specials, weekday happy hour, and a lively atmosphere, every visit brings the party. Social Cantina Nashville. Loud, social, flavorful, and unforgettable.
Welcome to Huntington Bank. We're new here, but we've been around since 1866.
Wow, that's a long time.
Long enough to know that insightful bankers, great products, and customer service make a big difference. Let's get more from money. Switch to Huntington Bank. Welcome. Eligibility requirements apply. Some features may require enrollment.
The weather is hot out, and the action is getting hotter at the Circa Sportsbook at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs. Feel the rush of every play in the largest sportsbook in Kentucky, from basketball, baseball, soccer, and more. Catch it all on an 80-foot screen, stadium-style seating. Download the Circa Sports Kentucky mobile app today and start betting like a pro anywhere in Kentucky. Don't miss a game at the largest sportsbook in Kentucky. Circa Sports at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
Hey guys, Big Joe here for our good friends over at Busy Bee. Listen, I am a Beehive member. I want you to be one as well because it's fantastic. And listen, get one free yearly Beehive membership to someone in your neighborhood. Now, the free membership must go to a family in your neighborhood. Beehive membership, buy one, get one offer is valid for the same or lesser value. Must present the offer at the time of service. So become a member of the Beehive Club. Go to busybeehvac.com. That's busybeehvac.com.
Call 775-7833.
I'm Emmett Smith. Opioid poisonings cause the most accidental deaths in the U.S., and I've lost loved ones. But now I'm prepared to save a life. Just remember, lay, spray, stay. Lay the person on their back, use Narcan nasal spray, dial 911, and stay with the person until help arrives. Continue to administer additional doses as needed. And opioid poisoning can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Always be ready to rescue. Learn more at readytorescue.com.
This week, make memories at First Horizon Park with the Nashville Sounds. Friday brings spectacular Friday night fireworks, and Saturday is Bluey Night for the whole family. Big smiles and unforgettable moments are all included with your ticket. Get yours now at NashvilleSounds.com.
Live on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Good afternoon. This is Brandon Bigsby with your Game Center update. News out of the NFL today is Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield spoke with the media on Thursday for the first time since news dropped that he will be entering free agency after the 2026 NFL season. The Buccaneers signal caller told media members today that he felt disrespected a little bit that he and the team could not reach an agreement on a new contract before the start of training camp. That he and his agent were not presented with an offer that was appealing whatsoever. Mayfield also noted that if the Bucs even want to continue to try and negotiate, he won't be speaking to the organization. And his agent is not going to be bothering him with it unless he's actually recognized for his value. The 31-year-old former first overall pick is entering his fourth season with Tampa Bay and led the Buccaneers to 2 straight playoff appearances in 2023 and 2024. Also news in the NFC South, it's been confirmed that Carolina Panthers third-round pick Chris Brazzell II will miss the 2026 season with a torn LCL. The rookie suffered the injury in practice on Wednesday. The Tennessee product caught 91 passes for 1,350 yards and 11 touchdowns for the Falls in 2025. And don't forget to listen to the Nashville Sounds once again tonight on 94.9 The Fan as they take on the Charlotte Knights in the third game of their 6-game series. You can catch the pregame coverage starting at 6:20 p.m. Central Time, with first pitch scheduled for 6:35 and Jeff Hem on the call.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media
35
station.
years of the best sports talk in Nashville. It's the George Plaster Show with Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame quarterback Kelly Holcomb and young gun Lewis Maddox. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Fantastic first hour on the George Plaster Show with Danny Evans talking some MLB trade deadline. But now it is time for hour number 2. George Plaster, Kelly Holcomb. Time for the Apple Collision Center's stat of the day. You guys ready?
Sorta.
Okay, well, let's do it. Here's the stat of the day. Who is the youngest player ever inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Hey, Kelly?
George, you know it, don't you?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm going to go on a gut feeling. I believe I'm right that the Hall of Fame made an exception in the death of Roberto Clemente. And he died on December 31st of 1972 in a tragic deal where he was trying to get supplies to Nicaragua, I think it was. So I'm going to go with that because I can't think of anybody younger that could have or would have gotten in.
I'm going with George.
Okay.
Show us.
I have no clue.
Roberto Clemente.
Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax.
Wow. You know,
36.
I should have thought of that because Sandy Koufax basically had 5 unbelievable, devastating years with the Dodgers. And he had all kinds of elbow issues, arthritis, the whole deal. And that's a really good call. Take that off of there, and then let's make Terry look silly as we welcome all of you in to the 4 o'clock hour. Excuse me?
That's not hard to do.
So did you see the question?
I did not.
Okay. Who is the youngest player ever inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Oh, I did see the answer. Yeah, it's Koufax.
Oh.
Well, that's a shame.
You're a cheater.
Yeah, whatever, Terry.
Yeah, I mean, he could have told us that earlier, couldn't he?
I mean, good
You asked if I
Lord.
saw the question. I saw the answer.
Oh, okay.
So he is true with that.
When is it
He's
you
true.
and the child are going to Wrigley?
Sunday.
Monday.
Sunday.
Okay. While all the trades are going on.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to keep you on today a little longer. With Danny on, we bagged your award-winning Daily Titans update. So let's go a little longer.
Sure.
People want to know about Cam Ward, and people are a little nervous because they hear things that in OTAs, he didn't look all that good. Other people are like, who cares what they do in May? Show me what's happening in September. Where are you on this, and where is he right now?
Well, I think he is a work in progress with the new offense. I mean, he looked pretty good yesterday. Today, not so much. I don't think any of the quarterbacks looked overwhelmingly great today. I think they worked on a lot of check down stuff and things that are generally not very exciting, but have to be, installed and as part of the playbook and everything. I think, I'm still in wait and see mode on Cam. I mean, I see things at times where it's like, yeah, I think this guy's got something. I think that, he has a chance to be pretty good. And then other times I see where, there's still a lot of things that have to be refined and worked on. I think as number 1 overall picks go, I think he's probably a little more raw than a lot of those guys. I think he's a lot, he's not nearly the polished product that a Joe Burrow or somebody like that, was coming out as their first pick, or Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, those type of guys. But there is talent there. It's just a matter of refining that talent, getting him comfortable, and getting some talent around him so that he can flourish.
What you're really getting at is he was the product as a number 1 pick in the draft of a pretty weak quarterback year. The season before, he might not have been in the top 4 QBs picked.
Right. I mean, I think most people would tell you that he probably would have went no better than 4th, maybe 5th or 6th, depending upon, how you viewed J.J. McCarthy and who was the other guy that went fairly late in the first, Bo Nix, depending on how you viewed those two. But I don't think there was any way he would have broken through and went with one of the first picks up there were Caleb Williams and Drake May and who was the third one that were in that draft? Oh, J.J. Daniels.
Remember.
J.J. Daniels.
Yeah.
So, Terry, I have been early on a Borgonzi fan because I've thought that there's a little bit something more to him than what has been in this front office. And certainly compared to Chad Brinker, he's Albert Einstein. Why did Borgonzi allow this offensive line to still be as big a question mark as it feels like it is? Did he have the opportunity to make it better? And if he did, why didn't he?
Well, that's a good question, George. And I think that's one we're going to be wondering about the answer for quite a while, maybe even lingering into the regular season. I think that he probably should have done a little more with this offensive line, especially center and right guard and swing tackle. Those are probably the three biggest areas that are in question right now. The thing is, the center market exploded. The guy who left the Ravens and went to the Raiders was the prize in the entire free agent market among offensive linemen. And he wound up signing a big time contract with the Raiders. And there was rumor that the Titans, would be in on him, but then the market was, it went where it did. And so they brought in Austin Schlottman, who has familiarity with Daboll, played under him in New York. I mean, they're kind of rolling the dice here, but, it feels like that outside of where the center market went, that the offensive line and interior, that there weren't a lot of attractive options there.
Okay. I know how this game gets played. They all say the right things. Daboll, you can call it what you want. He's the head coach of the offensive side of the football. Is he truly a Cam Ward fan?
Yeah, I think he absolutely is. I mean, he was the one who was pushing the Giants to offer the trade to the Titans last year to try and get that number one pick to take Cam Ward. So I think he absolutely is on board and is a fan of Cam Ward and thinks that there is something there that can be developed into a pretty good quarterback. I think I think it's going to be a job. It's going to take some time. It's going to be a process. I don't think he's going to step on the field in week one and light it up for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. He could, but I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be more of a process and trying to improve incrementally so that by the end of this year, you're pretty sure that you've got your guy and he's well on his way to succeeding.
Okay, let me try it this way. So, under the idea that you take certain strengths that a quarterback may have and gear your offense that way, what do you think Daboll is trying to do to take advantage of the skill sets that are best in Cam Ward's corner?
Well, I think, some of the things that Cam Ward does well, he's not a runner per se. He's not like other guys that Daboll has coached. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Jackson Dart in terms of running around and just taking off and going and running up the middle and, getting on 3rd and 8, picking up 12 yards with his feet. He's not going to do that a whole lot. When Cam Ward moves and he's off the spot in the pocket, he's moving, looking for another place to get to so that he can throw the football to somebody. He's only going to run, I think, as a last resort because that's not what his game was in college, and that's not what type of athlete that he is. I think he's more of a thrower than he is a dual threat quarterback. And his specialty is being able to make those off-schedule plays. Where they've got to improve Cam Ward, and stop me if you've heard this before, because some of the same things were said about Will Levis. He's got to learn to take the layups and quit shooting 3-pointers all the time, or he's got to learn to take the singles and not try to hit home runs every time. That's part of the maturation process that Cam Ward's got to get to, and that's what Brian Daboll is going to try and do with him. Let him earn the opportunities to hit the home runs, but let's take some singles in there at certain times to keep the chains moving, keep drives alive rather than going 3 and out.
Okay, he clearly has some wheels. that he can use. Terry, I thought, and you tell me if I'm wrong, in the first half of the season, he seemed very hesitant to use that skill. Somewhere in the second half, he said, screw it, we need this, and boom.
Yeah, he was encouraged. He was very reluctant the first half of the year to take off and run with the football because I think he wanted to try and the way he had kind of been coached in college and high school or whatever, and the way he had kind of learned how to play the position was, like John Elway used to do, run around and, buy some time. And then if somebody breaks open down the field, hit them for a big gain. I think that's sort of the style that he wants to play. But sometimes, when it's not there, you either have to throw it away and live to play another down, or you can take off and run with it as long as you don't put yourself in harm's way. The other part of that, he probably got tired of getting sacked 6 times a game.
George, that mentality also got his AC joint sprained in the last game of the season. Doing
True.
the same thing.
Oh, you're right. I mean, it's a
double-edged sword.
It sure is. Kelly, what do you got for Terry?
Out there at practice, Terry, have you seen any changes with his feet, with anything, with his foundation of throwing the football? I mean, you always got to work on that. But is there anything you've seen different with him? I mean, he can throw the ball from all angles. That's what I love, and I think when you get the National Football League, you have to do that. But everything starts with your feet. And have you seen changes in that area with him?
I think they want him to try to set his feet and be able to throw whenever possible. But like you said, the off-balance throws, the change of arm angle throws, those are still a part of what he does and who he is. I think, that's part of, the process of figuring this out and what type of quarterback he's going to be is, we know you can do this, but we need you to do this in order to be the best guy you can be, and not do this instead of that, but do this, when you don't have to be throwing off balance and throwing off your back foot and things like that. Obviously, you want him to have a good base, and I think that's one of the things that the previous staff there tried to emphasize to him, to have a good throwing base and make sure that you're moving your feet as you're moving your eyes across and reading different plays to see which receiver is open. But I also think that they don't want to take away the improvisation ability that he has. And so they're walking a fine line there. I mean, I think his accuracy the first day was pretty good. Today, it was a little bit more scattered. So it's still a work in progress, Kelly.
This is what gets me about us, about fans, about everybody. Like the defense, when the defense starts out, the defense is going to be ahead of the offense because everybody used to get mad at me. But defense, when it really boils down to it, you got to know what you're doing, but it's see ball, go get ball. Everybody gets pissed off at me about saying that, but like defensive coordinators, I was like, just see ball, go get ball. But on the offensive side of the ball, you have to know as a quarterback what everybody's doing, what the O-line's doing, what the receiver's doing, what the side adjuster's doing, who the back's got. With this being a new offense, how is his timing right now? I know this is really early, and it's like you can't even answer that question, but how do you like his timing on things right now?
Seemed like it was pretty good yesterday. Today wasn't as good. I think it's still something that is developing, still something that is kind of coming together. I think that's part of the reason they've been working on, it seems like, a lot more safer, short stuff. He's been throwing to Wan'Dale Robinson a lot, who's, kind of a guy who works underneath and, catches a lot of screens and a lot of flares and little hitch routes and things like that. I think, it's one of those things where I think they're kind of working on the timing, trying to get him comfortable with the safe throws and the short stuff first, and then incorporating the other stuff a little on down the line, because we've not seen a lot of 30, 40-yard throws down the field very often the first 2 days of camp.
This backup quarterback is intriguing to me because they say it's going to be a battle. with the preseason and the way the preseason is now, I don't know how much work Cam Ward to get. I'm not sure how much work Mitchell Trubisky will get because he's been there, done that. He's been in this system a while. But, I mean, what are they saying about the backup stuff? Will Levis, how has he looked? How's Mitch Trubisky looked? And I think Will Levis is going to get a lot of the reps in preseason. If that's what I'm seeing, that's what I'm thinking. Is that what they're thinking?
Yeah, I would look for Levis and Hendon Hooker probably to get quite a few
Right.
reps in the preseason. I think Hendon got some reps yesterday because Trubisky wasn't out there, but
Right.
Today he was pretty much back to being a spectator once they got through with individual periods. Trubisky was the second guy in, worked with the number 2 group, had one really nice deep throw to Bryce Oliver for a touchdown, but then later had a ball that he was trying to place into Xavier Restrepo. James Williams picked it off, took it back for a pick 6. Really wasn't a great day for Mitchell Trubisky. Levis, I don't know. If I didn't know better, I'd say somebody read him the riot act to say don't put the ball in harm's way, because he didn't have any of the signature throws that you've seen from him where he'll make a beauty of a pass, but he kind of took the safe stuff today on most of his throws. Even in 7-on-7, he seemed to take a lot of the check down. So that must be the part of the game he's working on, because that he's had decision-making issues of putting the ball in harm's way too much in the past. Maybe that's the part he's working on.
George talked a little bit about the offensive line and me being a former quarterback. I know that's where everything starts, but I saw where J.C. Latham came back. And to me, he's a guy that needs as much practice as he can get. I know he was over today, I guess, with the trainers and stuff. I know he's coming off an injury, but what is there, first of all, how is he doing with the injury stuff? And do they have how is their depth on the O-line after the starting 5? Because I'm not sure about, I don't think everybody's sure. We're sure about Skoronski. We know Dan Moore is going to be there. I guess when J.C. Latham comes back, they got 2 new guys. But, how is their depth, Terry?
Well, it's a question mark. I mean,
Okay.
I'll answer the J.C. stuff first. J.C. Latham's in a make-or-break year to me.
Yes.
He's a guy that this is year 3. It's time to live up to being a first-round pick. It's time to start being part of the solution here. Don't be a one-contract guy. Show them enough that they want to give you an extension next offseason to show that you're part of this team for the next 4 to 5 years. I think this season he's going to have to show that he can play up to a level that he can earn their trust and confidence down in and down out. And I think as far as the depth at tackle right now, it's very, very suspect, very, very inexperienced. If either of those guys, Dan Moore or J.C. Latham, were to go down, you're either going with a journeyman backup in Austin Deculus, who struggled last year when he was called upon by the Chargers, or you're going with Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, who was an undrafted rookie last year, and he's a guy that they have some hopes for. I think he probably is the better option because he's a really big guy. I talked to him some today. He's a really big guy. He's a guy that can play mostly right tackle, could play left tackle in a pinch. And I think that's a guy that they would like to groom for that third tackle spot if he'll step up and take the job.
And me looking at this stuff and kind of reading through the tea leaves, I'm kind of excited. This is the first time I think that the Titans, I can't remember when the Titans have had a wide receiver room like they've gotten. I think Carnell Tate, obviously drafting him. They got the Robinson kid from the Giants. They got Calvin Ridley coming back. I guess IU Manners made some catches. It just seems like that. I mean, there are going to be some tough decisions, if these guys keep doing this. And this seems like one of the better wide receiver rooms or wide receiver crops that they've had in a long time.
Really is. I mean, they're 1 through 5, they're pretty solid. And then the 6th guy, Bryce Oliver, who is kind of a special teams guru, can also go out there and make a tough catch when he needs to. I think this receiver room, that's one of the areas that they've really upgraded. There are very few spots on this team where they have sufficient depth, but it seems to be mostly in the skill positions and the defensive line. The defensive line, they, by choice went out and brought in a bunch of guys via free agency in the draft that were familiar with Saleh's system. So they're very set there. The wide receiver position, like you mentioned, the pretty solid 1 through 5, even 6, if you want to add Bryce Oliver. Running back, I think they're 3 or 4 deep. And then when you look at quarterback, they're 3 deep, of guys that, they would say, yeah, that guy's okay if we have to put him in. And I think it's offensive line and secondary and maybe linebacker where there's still a lot of questions and the depth still has to be filled in on this team. And the question is, can the spots that are deep and have some talent, can they carry the load until the other spots can get up to speed?
And my last question, you kind of answered my question there, but let's go to tight end. Me being an offensive guy, I wanted to go through all the positions, but the Helm kid and the Bellinger kid, is Brian Daboll? I don't even remember, but I know when he was at Buffalo, he liked 2 tight ends. I mean, are you seeing some of that in these practices? I mean, is he using those guys, and how are they doing?
Yeah, he's using a lot. He's using those guys a lot in some 2 tight end sets. They run some 3 wide. They run, but yeah, they do run some 2 tight end stuff. I think Gunnar Helm and Daniel Bellinger are probably your top 2 guys.
Right.
And Bellinger obviously knows Daboll's system, having come with him from the Giants. Another guy, and it's crazy to think because he's a 7th round pick, but another guy who, seems to have some athleticism and some skill, and who knows? I mean, he could be kind of a wild card in this. I don't think he's going to see a lot of offensive snaps this year, but I think he's going to be one of those preseason darlings, and that's that guy Jaron Kanik, who was their last pick in the draft.
Yeah.
You watch, that guy is going to open some eyes in preseason. Now, it may not translate much into reps in the regular season other than special teams, but I think you're going to see that guy make some plays.
Hey, Terry, I kind of want to dive into this offensive line just a little bit more. And I had this noted down that, and this has been talked about before, but J.C. Latham, I mean, there were a lot of tackles taken after him in that draft that have outperformed him either completely or in some type of pro football focus category. Olu Fashanu and Amarius Mims are 2 guys that completely outrank him through their first couple of seasons over JC. But as far as the right guard spot goes, I'm hearing that Cordell Volson has kind of been the guy that has been listed as the number 1 guy, but that Jackson Slater is kind of pushing that agenda a little bit to maybe get his opportunity there. And then also Schlottman at center. I mean, what about Pat Coogan? I was really excited to get Pat Coogan in the draft. And I mean, what can you tell us about him?
Yeah, Coogan is getting some work with the 2nd group and the 3rd group. But I think Austin Schlottman probably has the inside track to winning that center job. And I think the sooner they can solve the center position, the better, because you want the center and the quarterback to get on the same page as far as the line calls and the protections and things like that. The right guard spot appears to be more of a true competition between Volson and Slater. Be interesting to see if anybody else gets thrown into that mix, but it looks like those 2 guys battling for that spot. And as far as JC goes, you're right. He has kind of underperformed. And like I said before, this is really a big make or break season for JC Latham, because you got to remember, they passed on the opportunity to take Brock Bowers, who has become maybe the best tight end in the league. They could have had him at number 7, but their offensive line situation was so desperate, they felt like they had to address it in the first round. And that's why part of the reason they took Latham.
And I heard this actually this morning. Somebody in the Nashville media said that this could be, and he thinks it's going to be, the worst Titans offensive line that he's ever seen. And me personally, I'm only 22. I've seen some pretty terrible Titans offensive lines. Do you agree with that? Because I just don't see how it could be possible.
I don't know how it could be worse than last year, but then I said last year, I don't know how it could be worse than 2024. And somehow it was. But actually, I'll say this. By the end of the year last year, the offensive line was not a major problem with this team. So talent-wise, I do think maybe they've taken a step back. But it's going to be interesting to see how this group gels and how these guys who are in competition, how soon somebody moves to the forefront and takes the job so that they can begin to start working together and getting used to each other. Now, to say it's the worst Titans offensive line, that they've ever seen, that's saying something, because the last 2 years, it's not really been good, especially even going back to 2023 when they pretty much ended Ryan Tannehill's career with how poorly they played.
And then flipping over to the other side of the football, my last thing, Terry, is I wanted to ask about these two guys, two new faces on that side of the ball. First, John Franklin Myers was hugely talked about when we picked him up in that trade from Denver. So what can you tell us about him and what his outlook is? How is he gelling with that group and Jeffrey Simmons? And then Anthony Hill Jr. is one that I'm really excited about. What can you tell us about him and his development?
Okay, Franklin Myers, he's a veteran guy. He's been in Salah's defense before. He's a guy that can play inside, can even shift outside if he needs to. So he's a versatile guy, knows what Salah wants, and he's a pretty good player. I think him teamed with Jeffrey Simmons in the middle of the defensive line is certainly going to make that the strongest unit on the team, I would think. I would think that would, if you were looking at strengths of the Titans, I think that would be number one, the interior of the defensive line. And Franklin Myers playing alongside Jeffrey Simmons, most of the time he's going to be single blocked, and he should be able to win his fair share of that. Anthony Hill Jr. made a really nice play today on a pass breakup on a ball that was out just near the line of scrimmage. He batted it away, made a really nice play on the ball. I think they have high hopes for him, but I think they're going to ease him along because they do have Cedric Gray and Cody Barton that they can rely on now. And I think eventually they would like to see Hill competing with Barton for that Mike linebacker spot. And, if he can win it, either by the end of camp or at some point during the season, then I think they would feel really good about that, because then they'd have a young guy in there who can learn it and then kind of take it and run with it for the next 2, 3, 4 years.
Terry, lay the stat on them that you laid on me earlier, and then we'll call it a day.
Okay. How many guys, this is free agents, undrafted rookies, draft picks, on their 90-man training camp roster, how many guys are still on the team that were drafted or signed by former GM Rand Carthon in 23 and 24?
I think Tajay Spears is one that comes to mind.
Kelly said the answer was 2.
I don't know. I'll be generous and say 6.
It's actually 12.
That's 12. Embarrassing.
That is still
12
embarrassing.
out of 90, though. That's not a good number.
Good Lord.
No, it's not a good.
That is
not
pitiful.
A good number.
Terry, thank you. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
Oh, my goodness. That is a stat of the day right there.
Yeah.
Okay, after the break, you're going to hear a little bit of Mike Borgonzi. You're going to hear a little bit of Robert Saleh on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back continuing some of our discussion of the Titans as they have gotten into training camp in the last couple of days. Here is General Manager Mike Borgonzi and head coach Robert Saleh.
You can feel the excitement from the guys going through the physicals here this morning. We'll have meetings here this afternoon, and then we'll have acclimation days here coming up here this week. Excited about all the new upgrades we've had too. I think it's going to be great for the fan experience. We have 2 new stands out there, covered stands, and just really want to thank ownership for just all the investment that they put in for the facilities with the new brand. You can just kind of feel the energy in the building. So thank you to Amy for allowing us to do all those things and to providing those resources. In terms of the roster, we're probably just going to have one guy in PUP, and that's JC Latham. Hooker will come off of PUP today. And with JC, he was just dealing with the pec strain that he had at the end of OTAs last year, but he's been here the whole time during the summer. And he's probably day to day right now in terms of when he's going to return, but he's really worked hard. He looks great. So we're ready to roll. Before we open up, I just want to acknowledge Teresa. This is going to be last year covering Titans, 30 years. That's unbelievable. So in honor of that, I'd like to open it up with questions. You can start.
Well, with that, Mike, a year ago at this reporting news conference, y'all were kind of asked about the state of the roster and competing for a Super Bowl, and it kind of became a joke with the way the season went. This year, with all the additions to the roster, the new coaching staff, all the changes that have been made, this is the NFL where teams can go from worst to first. What do you think of this team's chances as camp starts today?
Teresa, we're so far away. I mean, we're just worried about having a good day tomorrow at practice. And when you have all these new faces in here, we started to lay the foundation, I think, in OTAs. And so, we feel good about the guys that we do have here, but we got a lot of work to do.
Okay. Mike, in terms of the roster, where do you feel like it's the most competitive right now, and where do you feel like there's still a lot of questions to be determined?
I think it's too early right now. I mean, you can go through OTAs, but we don't have pads on at that point, so the game is played with pads. So there's a lot of work here to be done to evaluate, but I do think the competition in general is better this year. We've improved that. So, like I said, we have a lot of work to do. And, we'll evaluate this as we go through camp.
This is actually for both of you. As far as the process of building around Cam Ward, like how well do you guys feel you've built around him and put him in a situation where he can be successful?
Yeah, I mean that's the goal. When you have a young quarterback, you're trying to build around him, and we've obviously added some weapons for him. Through free agency in the draft, and we feel good about the skill guys we have, and continuing to invest in the offensive line is going to be a big thing too. But we feel good at this point.
Yeah, just to echo it, definitely feel good, and not to leave out the guys who were here a year ago with Helm and DK and Alec. Those guys are going to come, hopefully continue to build and grow into their second year, and so we've got a good foundation, and now it's just a matter of working and developing these guys.
Robert, you got a lot of experience on your coaching staff, obviously. Was there much of a self-scout in the offseason heading into training camp from the coaching standpoint, kind of what guys liked, didn't like, what you liked, didn't like?
Yeah, you're constant communication with all the whether it's day ball with the quarterback or defensively, and just the things that looked good, and just the overall structure of what we're trying to accomplish. And we'll self-scout again going through training camp. So you're always evaluating. You're always trying to look inward. You're always trying to break things down, and looking forward to this training camp and all the different work we're going to get, not only with ourselves, but along with San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago. Those will be really good evaluations for us also.
Yeah, Mike. Obviously wins and losses, but what are other than that? What are some of the benchmarks you've been looking at? You're going to continue to look at with this team that tells you you're going the right direction.
Well, yeah, you can usually tell when a team comes together. Just how connected they are. So that's what you're looking for, is we continue to build the culture that we want, and to form that connection with the teammates. So those are the things we're looking at, as we're building this here is are we building a team that works together, that plays for each other. So those are things we evaluate every day, but that's certainly, we want to build a foundation there.
Robert, that's one set of expectations. Do you talk more concrete expectations with the guys as you gather them about the division, about the playoffs, about Super Bowl even? And how do you make that a concrete expectation while at the same time acknowledging where you actually are and how much change there's actually been?
What we talk about with our guys is about us. I get we play in a really good division. I get there's 31 other teams in the NFL, and but the focus is on us. The focus is on our process. The focus is on winning the day, and the only chance you have at being successful in this league is if you have a great process. You win day to day, and you put yourself in position to be as good as you can be on game day, and that's really the main focus for our football team.
I'll go Robert, and Mike, you can take this one as well. How much you feel you know about this team as of now, and how much will you find out during the course of camp?
Yeah, you got a general feel from OTAs, but we're gonna find out a lot about everybody. I said in OTAs that you're running around without pads, and there's countless stories of guys who disappear when pads come on, and there's countless stories of guys who appear when pads come on, and so we're gonna have a lot of opportunity. And like I said, getting opportunities to scrimmage with San Francisco, Seattle, and Chicago is going to give us a tremendous evaluation on everybody in the roster, all the way from 1 to 90, and looking forward to seeing how all this plays out.
Robert, in the spring, you felt like every time at the podium we're telling us, wait till we get into the pads. Everything about mandatory minicamp is kind of the same across the league. What about your training camp do you feel is unique, or maybe some of the things that you've learned the past couple of years about the way that you try to run this portion?
Yeah, we've I feel like we've done a really good job communicating with between all the departments, whether it's strength and conditioning, training, performance, nutrition, and educating our guys on what they needed to do over the course of the 40 days to get themselves ready for training camp. I do think this will be one of the more difficult, trying training camps for our guys. There's going to be a lot of volume. There's going to be a lot of contact. There's going to be obviously a lot of strenuous days with the 3 scrimmages we have. We're playing in the preseason game, so we're going to get a lot of volume. We're going to get a lot of opportunities to see our guys operate on a day-to-day basis, and we've got what I feel is a really, really good plan to get us peaking when training camp ends. to allow us to build the armor that's required to survive a 17-week season. So,
can you expand a little bit about if you're going to push these guys so hard? How do you manage when guys aren't 100% or maybe have a little bit of a bruise or a nick that they have to?
Yeah, you've got to go through. There's if you feel like you're capable of playing on game day, then you should be practicing. And those are things that we'll always communicate with the player. If the player feels like he can't go, then he can't go. But at the same time, after the first day of pads, there isn't a single player on the roster that's healthy for the rest of the year. They're hurt, they're dinged, they're bruised. You have all those things, and you just got to differentiate whether you're injured and you can't go, or whether it's a nick or a bruise. And those are communications that we'll have constantly.
Robert, this being the first training camp with this team as kind of the leader, what's the tone that you want to set right out of the gate with these guys?
You know what? You really want to just see a lot of the growth. We've got a lot of new schemes, right? We got a lot of new programs. The strength and conditioning is different. The way we operate day to day is different. So you want to see this group grow and absorb all the information that we're giving them. And you just want to see a group that gets faster and faster and faster as training camp goes and into the season all the way into the end of it. And, I've always said that confidence is always projected in the volume of your voice. And, by the end of training camp, I hope we're loud as tells you that we're confident and we know what we're doing. So the objective is to teach the best we can, to educate the best we can. And the challenge for our players is to absorb the information the best they can and build a confidence that gets them ready for week one.
Hey, Mike, when you talk about building this team in a short period of time, you've assembled a core of players 25 and under. How high are you on that group to take this team into the next 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, what they've shown us so far. I mean, obviously we've seen more of last year's class and playing last year, but yeah, no, I'm extremely excited for that group. And even some of the guys that were here before that are still younger players. Said and Latham and these guys, and I still think there's room for them to grow, and that's the exciting thing. So those are going to be the foundation of our team here moving forward. These young guys, and they show up every day and they work so hard. So I'm confident that they're going to continue to get better too.
Mike, does your philosophy on how you're going to handle waiver wire and roster transactions in camp change at all in year two? I know last year you had number one spot on the waiver wire, and that probably made it a little bit easier. This year, are you looking to make as many moves as you did, or is it?
I think the process never really changes. We tweaked a couple of things last year just in terms of how we were evaluating with the group. But the process never changes. We build a claim board much like a free agent board, and it doesn't matter where you're at in the claim. You're putting the work in the off season to evaluate all these other 31 rosters.
Mike, with regard to receiver, 2-part question. The history here has been bad at the position across a lot of GMs, across a lot of coaches. So I know you're a new guy looking at it a different way, your own way, and not particularly concerned with that. But do you look back at that history at all to devise what has gone wrong so that you make sure you don't make the same wrong steps?
I don't. I've gone through the same evaluation of positions that I have for a long time. It depends on your roster construction at the time. When you're taking receivers, and we've had philosophies that I've had over the years in terms of drafting receivers, and I stick pretty firm to that.
Okay, so let's toss that question at Kelly Holcomb, a former NFL quarterback. Kelly, you know the track record at wide receiver. It's been absolutely abysmal.
Yep.
Is it just simply bad luck? Is it bad? What is it?
I think it was philosophy, George. I really do. I think they were run first, heavy first with obviously Eddie George, with Derrick Henry, with Chris Johnson, with all those guys. That was just I've talked about this before. I think that was an organizational deal that when Jeff Fisher was here, that's what he wanted to do. They had Steve McNair, who was a game manager. He could make plays with his feet, but he could run around. He made guys better. He didn't have to have great guys outside, but they just have not had. I think it was a philosophy, and I think it was bad drafting, George. I really do. But that's why I asked Terry that question, because I really feel good with me. Obviously, I have no ties to this team other than, just on our show here. I never played for them. I played against them a couple of times, and I've told you all those stories. But just me from the outside looking in, it gets me excited about it because I'm a quarterback, and I think they've got a room full of guys now that can make plays. I really do. I think those two guys that they had last year, the Io Manor and the Chike,
Chim DK.
Yeah, Chim DK. Yes, I think they hit on those guys. I don't know how great. I don't know if they'll ever be great players, but I think they're really good football players. But I think the Cornell Tate kid could be really something special. You got a guy in Calvin Ridley who his day is kind of come and gone, but he's still a veteran presence in there, and he can still play, and he can still run. He can still make people miss, and he can make some plays. You got the Robinson kid from the Giants that Brian Daboll is obviously familiar with, and the Bryce Oliver kid. Terry talked about him. You even got the Estrepo kid, which I don't know if he's going to make it. The Kinsey kid, like I don't know if he's going to make it. Probably not. But like I just look at there from top to bottom. I think it's the best wide receiver room they've, if not ever had. It's close to being ever had, and it just makes me feel good because I think you have to have people in that room that's going to complement your quarterback. And I think Mike Morganti and his staff and Robert Saleh and those guys said, hey, if we think he is what he is, and we've got to give everything in our power to give him the opportunity to be successful, let's go out and get people. And I truly think they've done that. Now, can they all gel and can it happen on the field? I don't know, but I'm interested to see that because I think pieces are in place for them to be successful offensively.
After the break, we're going to preview something coming tomorrow at 3:20 that I'm going to want to get Kelly's reaction to, even though he is a Friday snob. And then we'll get to, are we celebrating or are we down in the dumps on Plaster Bet of the Day? This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Get ready, Clarksville. The Arena Football One postseason is officially coming home to F&M Bank Arena. Your Cats have secured the top seed and are locked in to hunt down the championship. High-stakes, fast-paced Arena Football playoff action. The number one seed Cats are taking on the competition, and they need you to throw your claws up and pack the stands. Don't miss the AF1 playoff game on Sunday, August 2nd at 3 p.m. Tickets are selling fast. Go to Ticketmaster.com or myfmbankarena.com to secure your seats today. Let's bring the crown to Clarksville.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
A very strong Friday. Even though Kelly Holcomb is a Friday snob, he won't
Hater.
be with us. Excuse
Hater.
me?
Stop hating, George.
No, I'm just stating facts. And,
You drink
you
Haterade
say that a
instead of
lot.
Gatorade. I know. I mean, just get over it, dude.
Haterade.
So, Kelly, tomorrow we're going to go over to Chapel Hill and find out what's going on at One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. As a lot of you know, in Bill Belichick's second year, right as the players are coming in, we get the GM placed on administrative leave, and all this stuff gets out that Michael Lombardi has acted like a grade A jerk. Kelly,
more than that.
what do you think? What do you think? Can Belichick make this substantially better? I mean, they didn't pay all this money to go 4-8.
George, I don't truly know, man. I really don't. He's a great football coach. And I've been around guys that I played with that played for him, and it was just all about doing your job. I don't know if he translates to the younger generation anymore. I really don't. I think that's why he had such a hard time in the National Football League, because I think owners kind of saw that. I think his place was, back in the old school days with the New York Giants when he was defensive coordinator, and then became a head coach at Cleveland, and then he became a head coach with the New England Patriots. We know the kind of success he had. He was at the right place at the right time. He had the right quarterback in Tom Brady, who kind of held all that together. And guys knew that didn't matter how he acted or whatever, they had a chance to win a championship. And that when things are going good, a steak tastes better, everything tastes better, relationships are better. But I'm not sure that he's one of the greatest coaches ever, but can he translate into college, and can he get it done there like he did at New England? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure that he can.
I mean, I can't imagine, Kelly, that this is the way he wants it to end.
No, but there's not many times that people's careers end and they end on top.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, which I hate saying this, but it's just like passing away, man. There's no easy way to go about it. And it's just like losing your job. There's no easy way, or going out there's no easy way to do that. You would always love to be on the high end of things, but I don't know. I hope he doesn't. I really do. I hope he gets it turned around. I just don't know if he can, but I'm not in the building. I don't know. It seems like he's brought all his cronies with him down there, like Michael Lombardi and all those guys, and that's never a good thing. People you trust, I understand that, but at some point things are going to turn bad, and you're going to have to fire people, and they're not going to be your friends anymore. I've said that. So I hope he does. I'm just not sure he can, George, because I think his relatable issues to this generation are different than what he's accustomed to.
I think
Kelly.
that this most recent bad thing that has come from UNC is not really on him, and I think that's kind of why we've started to talk about it a little bit. My thing is, the dude had one bad season transitioning into a completely different world than what he's been accustomed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I say give him a little time.
Yeah, but
maybe
here
it's
it is on him. He brought Lombardi in here. He knew what he was.
But it's his fault that this dude gets a complaint filed to HR.
No, I'm not saying that, but all this stuff that's come out about, we're the National Football League. We're the 13th, we're the 33rd team. Please. Please. What a bunch of vomit. By the way, Kelly, I want you to watch this closely. Let's get into yesterday. We have a clerical error. No, that is not a loss. That is a win at the bottom in game 2 Monday night doubleheader. So 91-72 is the record. Kelly,
that's got to be a finable offense, don't it, George? Like that's got to be a C note for old Lewis.
Hey,
but it's not Lewis.
It's not me. I don't make that.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't?
We can't.
Okay.
I mean, we can blame a lot of things on him, and it's fun.
I'm blaming everything on him, just like I did Billy. It's your fault, Lewis.
Young William.
Young William.
I'll text who made that graphic tonight.
So
it confused me too, though, because it was a doubleheader and they lost the first game.
Doubleheaders in baseball, they've been there for 50 years, maybe 100.
You are correct in that statement.
So here we go to tonight. We're going with the Dodgers. And you say, that's so easy to do.
Nice
well, let me ask you this. If it's that easy, why is the line only 150?
1.5 to 1 odds.
Because Seattle is pretty good.
Well, I hope you're right, and I hope you lose.
As always, George, good luck.
First of all, there's not much I can do about Kelly. Okay, this is who he is. Very negative.
There truly isn't.
There's nothing. But you, on the other hand, have been here less than 4 weeks, and already you're getting more and more like him.
Well,
that's a tragedy.
You were wrong there.
At such a young age.
Because we're at the end of the show, and this is the 4th week today.
Okay.
That I've been here. So
well, in 4 weeks, you have gone from Columbia's finest to this.
Oh, give me a break.
And
we'll see all of you tomorrow.
Hey, the Mule Days is coming, baby. He's the judge of the Mule Days.
See you tomorrow.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Our forecast this afternoon, keeping temperatures on the cooler side here.